Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. Carla Shepherd in the house. Cameron Hawk, what up? Yes, sir. This one right here hit me off guard. Um, as we know, we talked about the Foxy Brown situation in the last live. Your boy DELRAY, Richardson, platinum artist, platinum songwriter, Straight Game TV. Thank y'all for coming. Thank y'all for tuning in. I appreciate your time. I appreciate everybody that comes to what we have to say as the chat and myself. Very important doing the playback because, like I said, a lot of you guys ask great questions and make uh, great comments, if you will. So, from that perspective, let's get right into it. So, more revelations. Keefe D's lawyer was caught off guard. Keefe Vince Pomo, what's happening? Keefe D's lawyer was caught off guard. Basically, it is a fact that Keefe D had been talking too much. And I understand the reason why he said what he said when he talked to Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. But Keefe D's a second confession tape, um, when it popped up, nobody knew about this tape. They never released it. They never mentioned anything about it. This second confession tape happened in 2009. And Keefe D did not tell his lawyer about this tape. You know, sit down. Is anything I should know as an attorney? Coming on your case. I don't know if Keefe D had forgot, but it's in black and white. Somebody said, "Yeah, I forgot. I know that didn't happen." No, this tape here is a tape confession, right? And where Keefe D did not tell his new attorney, Carl Arnold, that he basically admitted to hiding the murder weapon. He was responsible for hiding the murder weapon. Keefe D did not tell his lawyer about this confession tape that he did in 2009 with the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. This is a bombshell for 10 different reasons. I'm going to get into the first reason. The first reason is the fact that he had talked so many times, and the reason I don't understand this is because, remember, in 2008, Keefe D received the Proffer agreement and the limited immunity that held at that particular time. So at that particular time, he didn't have to talk to anybody, nobody else from that perspective, because you were granted immunity for the situation involving his what he confessed to his involvement in the murder of Tupac Shakur, confessing his role to Greg Kading them, which they're going to be using that tape also to make inference to the fact that Keefe D that said that Sean Puffy Combs agreed to pay him $1 million to assassinate Suge and Tupac Shakur. That is also on the first tape, but that was in 2008 when he got that deal. This confession came in 2009, right? Where Keefe D goes into detail with the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, and they never released this interview. And Keefe D did not tell his lawyer, his new lawyer, Carl Arnold, that this tape actually exists. So their defense is now, I did it, Keefe D, we know he did it for fame, he did it for money, and all of those things, right? The new defense that they've offered up is the fact that Keefe D wasn't even in Las Vegas. Now, that sounds all good and sweet for the people who don't know. But if you got a jury of 12 people, right, and you start from the beginning of the timeline, and so you have to ask yourself, number one, Keefe D didn't tell his lawyer that he had confessed to actually being the person responsible for hiding the gun. So now, on that tape, he admits that he was responsible for hiding the gun. So when you get into court, when they say, well, the defense, and there was another defense that Keefe D lawyer had offered up, Now you got to understand that Keefe D's not offering up any of these defenses. It's your lawyer's job to defend you and try to come up with a great defense for their client, right? So when Keefe D's lawyer would say, well, they don't have a murder weapon to the jury or whatever. Well, we have a statement from 2009 and where Mr. Davis confesses that he hid the murder weapon. He was under a proffer agreement at this particular time and knew that he could not be, or for all intents and purposes, they made it clear under their interview in 2009, not the Greg Kading interview, but into that everything that he said could and would be used against him in a criminal proceeding. And this is what they're going to do. So when the defense, so Keefe D essentially has taken away his own defense, in which a lawyer would actively try to defend him in the case. You got to admit this is a whole different level of I don't even understand. I don't even know what to call it. Like I said, I understand why Keefe D was talking, because he thought he had immunity, right? But after giving that immunity deal, you would think that, hey, you know what, man, you got to get out of jail free card. You know, you go on with your life. You don't say nothing else about anything else. I understand why he came out and he felt that way. From all intents and purposes, he didn't know that Greg Kading recorded the meeting where he gave the confession from that perspective, and then Greg Kading did murder rap. That still wouldn't incentivize that. What should I say? That shouldn't incentivize anybody to want to now go write a book and now go do interviews about their involvement in the Tupac murder trial. But Keefe D felt like he should, right? So now the defense about, because these are the different defenses that they don't have a murder weapon. They don't have corroborating evidence, right? Well, if they don't, the reason why they don't have a murder weapon, because Mr. Davis confessed to the Las Vegas Police Department in an incriminating statement that could be used in the criminal proceeding, and they let him know that in the interview, right? That he hid the murder weapon, that he was responsible for hiding the murder weapon after the assassination of Tupac Shakur. Amazing. And his lawyer did not know about this until the Vegas police released it. And which Keefe D was Keefe D's responsibility to tell Carl Arnold about, all that he had spoken to law enforcement and so on and so forth. So his lawyer's totally caught off guard, right? Now, there's another thing that I came across yesterday on Vlad TV, where Vlad released, and I didn't see this at first, but now there's one, and I believe this is going to be one of the most powerful pieces of evidence that they're going to use in court against Keefe D. Other than this bombshell right here, right? Keefe D talking to Vlad. Vlad asked him in regards to the book, and they're talking about the Foxy Brown situation. Keefe D admits that Foxy Brown actually witnessed Zip give him the gun, right? So once again, Keefe D has involved Foxy Brown. Foxy Brown did not ask to be involved in any murder case or any confession or none of that. So when people think about saying anything about Foxy Brown, she's never said nothing about she was there. We never knew that she was there until Keefe D placed her at the scene in Las Vegas at the time that he was allegedly receiving the gun from Eric Von Zip, right? Right. So now Vlad is asking him, in regards to what he's saying in the book. And with Keefe D, he's like, where that's at? He said, it's in the book. And so Keefe D asked somebody from on side of the camera, to hand him his book. And Keefe D holds up the book and says, yeah, here's the book right here. You can purchase it, $20 or whatever. And you don't have to hear the truth from no cop, no industry motherfuckers or nothing like that. You can hear the truth directly from the motherfucker who lived it, right? That statement right there, I believe that Keefe D made to Vlad is going to put him in the prison for the rest of his life. Bottom line. among other statements, that statement right there, because what that says is, um, at that particular time, you got to understand when Keefe D is speaking, he believes that he can't be charged for the murder of Tupac Shakur. He got the book out, everything going accordingly. Greg Kading put a book out. He said, Greg wrote a book, I could write a book. The number one thing he didn't realize, Greg Kading wasn't being investigated for the murder of Tupac Shakur. He was investigating the murder of Tupac Shakur. He wasn't being investigated. So the motivation in that right there is crazy. But now I take you back to 2009. So we go back to 2009. And where he admits that he hid the gun, among other things that he admitted, right? Yeah, this is the thing. Like I said, I say it's a bombshell. Keefe D's lawyer, he's trying to downplay it, right? His lawyer basically confirmed that he was unaware of the existence of the tape and the interview that Keefe D gave to Metro police officers in 2009. Right? However, he said he had received a transcript and an auto copy. So Keefe D's lawyer is now in possession, right, of a transcript of the confession, and Keefe D saying that he was responsible for hiding the gun, which Keefe D's lawyer knew nothing about. But now he has a transcript of the interview as well as an auto copy. So now this places Keefe D in a very peculiar place. A very peculiar place as far as him needing and having to be, basically, he gonna have to take a plea. If he take this to trial, man, listen, they're gonna give him life in prison. They're gonna give him life in prison. I don't know whatever deal that he could work out, but it's not working out, right? And Keefe D's lawyer basically brushed the significance of the audio tape and the transcript off. Of course, he can brush it off. He ain't on trial for his life. You understand what I'm saying? Keefe D is, right? They're basically going to try to file a motion to dismiss the evidence. But I don't think that's going to work, because they said in the beginning of the transcript, they said that this can and will be used against Keefe D in a criminal proceeding. I don't think the judge will throw that out. That's essentially giving him his Miranda rights and letting him know that, hey, you know what? You got a right to remain silent. You could, invoke the Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. But Keefe D chose to talk even after he was given a proffer agreement in 2008. Why would you go talk to the Metropolitan Police Department and confess to them that you were the person responsible for hiding the gun? This is on tape. This is in a transcript. Keefe D lawyer has it. Absolutely. Right? Keefe D's lawyer basically was saying it depletes his right to have a fair trial. No, it doesn't. I mean, it does in the sense that he confessed, but Keefe D is the only person that makes his ability to have a fair trial that, because he talks so much, right? And he was out here brazen. You heard him in Art of Dialogue. Hey, homie, I got to deal with the U.S. Attorney's Office. I could say whatever I want. I'm like, but this is a state crime. And so once again, when you deal with the fact that it's a state crime, how do you continue to talk, knowing that the state possibly could do something, not that they will, but that they possibly can, right? Right? And basically saying Metro waited 15 years since 2000, since this 2009 interview to prosecute. I mean, come on. Like, what do you mean? There's no statute of limitations on murder. It was Keefe D's responsibility to keep his mouth shut, right? And basically, from the information that Keefe D's lawyer saying that he had, from what from what information I have, there was no agreement not to prosecute. So why did Metro not arrest him in 2009 when he was sitting there? Listen to this. So now, after Keefe D's lawyer went over this transcript and the audio, right? What Keefe D's lawyer Carl Arnold's now saying, he said, from what information I have, from what the Metropolitan Police Department gave to Keefe D's lawyer, there was no agreement not to prosecute. Pause. You see what I mean? So there was no agreement not to prosecute. They didn't have to prosecute when Keefe D's lawyer thought that they should prosecute. They didn't have to prosecute when you or I thought that they should prosecute, right? There's no statute of limitations on murder or the involvement in murder, right? They chose to prosecute when they felt they had the opportunity, the overabundance of evidence. And now we see Keefe D's in the Metropolitan Detention Center in Las Vegas, in Clark County Detention Center, right? So now, if we're in agreement on that, right? So now, so Keefe D's lawyer is asking, so why not arrest him in 2009 when he was sitting there? Because they didn't have to. Because they understood that Keefe D the year before made a proffer deal with the government. They just wanted a confession on the record. That's why they never released the confession on record, because they just wanted it. And they probably would release it sometime later, down the road, basically saying, we have Keefe D on record, basically saying, hey, you know what? I was there. My nephew did it. I was responsible for hiding the gun, and so on and so forth. Never did Keefe D think in a million years that this statement would come up to haunt him like it is going to come up and haunt him, right? And Keefe D's lawyer basically saying, this goes back to what I've always said. They knew that they didn't have enough evidence to convict him. It wasn't that they didn't have enough evidence to convict him from that perspective, because everybody was deceased, or most of the players that were involved were deceased, right? It was the fact that he had the proffer deal, and they were respecting that. They just wanted a statement on the record of everything that he basically stated in the proffer agreement. But the only thing that they didn't promise was not to prosecute. In the proffer agreement, they basically said, you tell us everything, we won't charge you for nothing that you said. But Nevada didn't agree to those rules. And soon as Keefe D walked in there to talk to the Metropolitan Police Department, I don't know why he would agree to do it anyway. And once they would have said, you know what, you can be prosecuted for this, I would have walked out, because he stood a better chance of doing that and not giving them the statement. And the only statement that would have been a statement of record was a statement that he gave Greg Kading and them. But he chose to talk. And not only did he choose to talk, but he chose to admit the fact that he was responsible for hiding the weapon that actually killed Tupac Shakur after the assassination. Amazing. Amazing. Police sources basically said it came as a shock to many on the police force to learn of the confession tape, because a lot of people didn't know about it. Even people who were actually on the police department didn't know about the confession that Keefe D gave the Las Vegas Police Department. Right? So given the murder case investigation was effectively on hold, they had placed it on hold after no one volunteered to give any information. Even the police are basically saying it was a crazy, stupid move. Given the murder case investigation was effectively on hold after no one volunteered to give any information about the Tupac murder from 1996 onward. Basically say there seems to be pretty huge questions that need asking about why this confession tape never was made public. And I understand why it wasn't made public. It didn't matter at that particular time, because making it public wouldn't have changed anything. The only thing that would have brought Las Vegas Police Department more scrutiny as to why they not locking Keefe D up. And for the people who didn't understand, well, look, we in agreement with the U.S. Attorney's Office agreed not to prosecute, based on the fact that he got a profit deal. But now that he went out and talked to Vlad and talked to Art, released the book, kept doubling and tripling down, he could be now charged for those statements. The statements that he made in the proffer agreement were protected under the proffer agreement. The statements that he made on Vlad, the Art of Dialogue, and elsewhere, those statements were not. That's why he was charged. And Keefe D was supposed to be the person that understood that. What up, Nandy Johnston, John Serrano, Crystal Hope, Illuminati TV, Scott Sweeney. So that's why most people don't really understand. They say, well, why they didn't charge him back then? Because there was an agreement with the U.S. Attorney's Office, right? And they didn't think that Keefe D would go out and speak any more about the situation than he did after he got the proffer agreement. Because most people with any kind of common sense wouldn't have done that. They wouldn't have wrote no book. You know what I mean? They wouldn't. I mean, the most he could have probably done is been an advisory on a film, but that puts you in the line of, yeah, you couldn't really have done that. So I guess he felt like this was his way of, he could have went and just got a regular job. But I guess that just wasn't him, right? So the police were even questioning the fact that why would he talk? Why would he go and confess to the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department that he was the one that hid the gun and all of these other things after Tupac was assassinated, right? And said, and obviously how Keefe D was not pulled in for further questioning, arrested, or some significant prosecution was not attempted. The reason why, because he had the profit deal, right? That's the reason why. It's simple. That's not a hard thing to understand, right? Basically saying the clips, Keefe D is heard telling Metro police officers, the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department officers, about how his nephew Orlando Baby Lane Anderson was beaten by Death Row Records boss Suge Knight and Tupac after the Mike Tyson fight. He's on tape saying all of this. Keefe D is also on tape basically saying that Orlando arm, his nephew's arm, was out of socket. Basically, his arm was dislocated from the situation at the MGM Grand. And that's why most people was like, well, how did Orlando shoot him? Because his arm was, out of socket or whatever, right? That's also a great question, right? Basically talking about after tracking down Tupac and Suge in the BMW, Keefe admitted that his nephew, Orlando Anderson, was the one to pull out the revolver, saying Orlando said, give it here, I'll shoot. And he got to shooting, Keefe D said. This is on the tape. 2009 confession to the Metropolitan Police Department that could be used, that was stated that it could be used in a criminal proceeding. And Keefe D didn't walk out the interview when they told him that. Right? Also, once again, remember, Keefe D's lawyer is basically saying that Keefe D wasn't even in Vegas. Now that he's been arrested, this doesn't say that he wasn't in Vegas. This says that he was in Vegas. He was in the white Cadillac, that he was involved with the murder. Keefe D also spoke on how a bullet go into Suge's head while a panicked Tupac, listen, this is eyewitness, I'm telling you, it's a lot of detail, while a panicked Tupac jumped up and down trying to get into the back seat. Keefe D also admitted on tape that he was responsible for hiding the murder weapon after the assassination on September 7th, 1996. Right? Amazing. You best believe they're going to use this tape to try to prosecute. Not only that, the statement as to the murder weapon. And see, Keefe D's lawyer is aware that a lot of the things that he said, and they were just waiting. Remember when Keefe D's lawyer, Carl Arnold, first came on the case, he was like, there's no murder weapon. You know what I mean? My client wasn't even in Las Vegas at the time. And he's throwing up these roadblocks in order to try to get the DA to prove that, what all of those things about the murder weapon. You don't have a murder weapon, you don't have a crime, you don't have a whatever. No, We have him saying on tape in 2009 that he was responsible for hiding a murder weapon after the assassination of Tupac Shakur um, on September 7, 1996. Keefe D is on tape saying to the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, right? A tape confession from 2009, which can and will be used as evidence. They stated that in the interview, and Keefe D's lawyer was not aware. He was not aware that Keefe D had made that confession prior to becoming his lawyer. It puts him in the rock and a hard place, right? So now, when you talk about, and I understand why they wouldn't use the tape during the grand jury, you would try to, when the grand jury, when they were convening the grand jury, this tape wasn't used, if you will. It wasn't used. But the fact of the matter is that the tape, and so when you bring the tape out, mention it, write a story about it, people now finding out, well, they said, well, because a lot of things, they don't have a murder weapon. You don't have, you know what I mean? And it's hard when you're dealing with evidence in court and instructions from the judge. You don't have a murder weapon. Well, here comes that tape. We asked that this tape be entered into evidence, Your Honor, 1996, and the judge is going to go over that tape, probably look at it, read the transcript, and let it be known that Mr. Davis was aware that this tape could be used against him. Ed Dogs, thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, that's what it seems like to me. But more importantly, though, check it out, though, Ed, and everybody else, Jamal J, Kareem Smith, Mr. Block Ice. Well, not even the video, the video evidence. Like I said, once again, I don't know if they recorded it. If they recorded him on tape, it's even worse. Like, videotape versus the audio tape. You know how they just put the little tape recorder in front of people versus have the camera running with the recording the whole thing. But like I said, Keefe D's lawyer is in possession of the confession, and where he basically says, yo, I hid the murder weapon after the assassination of Tupac Shakur. You know what I mean? And so the question becomes, do you want to take a plea now? Because if he goes to trial and he fights this and he takes it to trial, the judge is going to bury him. The judge is going to give him life in prison. And at his age right now, that's basically what it is. And Keefe D doesn't have anybody else to blame but himself. So now we go to the Foxy Brown situation. In his book, he's basically saying, in the interview that Vlad did, he's basically confessing that Foxy Brown witnessed him get the gun from Zip, right? And so they're wondering why now, Foxy Brown, would she testify? Foxy Brown didn't ask to be drawn into this. Keefe D mentioned her name. People have to see this from the right perspective. People tend to look at things from whatever perspective, ill perspective that they see, whoever they favor of. I'm not in favor of nobody. This is what I understand it to be and the facts of the matter, and this is what it is. Keefe D confessed basically, and his lawyer did not know before Keefe D's lawyer became his lawyer. He was supposed to know this information. Keefe D was supposed to express to him basically, hey, you know what? Now, I did an interview in 2009 with the Las Vegas Police Department, while I was under my proffer agreement with, the U.S. Attorney's Office. They didn't agree not to prosecute, but I did a statement. So what did you tell them? I told them X, Y, and Z. Well, there's no need to doubt what he told them because it's on tape and it's on the transcript, and now Keefe D's lawyer has that. So the fact that they're making a defense now that Keefe D wasn't in Vegas is preposterous. It's preposterous. The fact now that they're making a statement now and where they're basically saying that Keefe D did this for the money and the fame, thanks Sidewalk Publishing, is preposterous, right? Because of the fact that, well, he already confessed that he was in Vegas. He confessed in 2009 to the Metropolitan Police Department when he thought that he could not be prosecuted. So you mean to tell me this is before the book was written? This was before Vlad TV had him on. This is before Art of Dialogue had him on. This is before any of the the podcasts or movies or documentaries had him on. This was before Murder Rap, right? The 2009 interview was before Murder Rap. Keefe D places himself, in his own words, in Las Vegas, in the white Cadillac, witnessing Suge get shot in the head, witnessing Tupac jumping around frantically, trying to get in the back seats as the bullets is flying in the car. Right? And not only that, he also admits to the fact that he was responsible for hiding the murder weapon after Tupac was assassinated and Suge was shot. Keefe D admitted all of this to the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department on tape. And Keefe D lawyer has the tape transcript and the audio to go with it. So how in the hell do they make an argument or defense saying that somehow, some way, Keefe D wasn't even in Las Vegas? I don't even understand that. I'm starting to think Carl Arnold taking this case for publicity and being a lawyer, because there's no, I mean, in trying to be a great defense attorney, you know, I don't even know how Johnny Cochran would try to, you know, what Johnny Cochran would do in regards to this, because I read a video. I met Mr. Cochran, you know, when he was living, and I seen a video on how he would deal with certain things, you know, and Johnny Cochran be like, you know, ask the client before the person comes to, you know, tell me the truth. You know what I mean? Let me know what's what. So he can have all of the information so that he can make an informed decision on how to proceed with the case. Right, Carla? You're absolutely right. Tay Razors, what's happening? Jersey Rick, what's good? Yeah, absolutely. And so, like I said, the what up, Tone? So to basically say that, you know, Keefe D, he wasn't even in Vegas. He wasn't even, my client wasn't even in Las Vegas. Huh? When Keefe D didn't even tell you that he made a statement to the Las Vegas Police Department in 2009. How is Keefe D lawyer now going to come to make the defense that he wasn't in Las Vegas on September 7th, 1996? Keefe D didn't even tell him that he was in Las Vegas in November of 2009, making a statement to the Metropolitan Police Department, confessing he was in the Cadillac, confessing that he saw Suge being shot in the head, or what he thought was shot in the head at that particular time, confessing that he seen Tupac frantically jumping around in the car trying to get in the back seat while the bullets was flying. This is what Keefe D told the Las Vegas Police Department. And not only that, he said out of his mouth that he was responsible, not Orlando, not nobody else that was in the car, that he was responsible for the disposal of the murder weapon that ultimately killed Tupac Shakur. This is all on tape. So what we're hearing right now, and we see Keefe D's lawyer keep making these statements, what we're seeing and witnessing right now with this situation is someone who's trying to their best to defend their client in the public court, if you will, in the court of public opinion, if you will. It's not going to work. Basically, what he's doing is he's tainting the jury against his own client, because there's no proper way to defend this case, to me, in my opinion, other than going and trying to cop a deal with the state's attorney's office. When you say Scott, Delray, do you think if 3 guys in the Cadillac picked up Keefe D at the liquor store, he would have been in the back seat of the driver's seat when the seats were occupied? Well, Keefe D was the boss according to most people. So it wasn't about that. That's not even a fair question. He was the boss. Like, yo, you Keefe D gonna ride in the front and y'all they ride in the back. He not gonna jump in the back seat, right? Just out of respect. You know what I mean? At that particular time for what was going on, right? So, I understand that question, but yeah, that wouldn't even matter. Nah, that no, the Adolph Thornton's case is not going to be crazier than Tupac's case, based on the fact that Tupac Shakur, it was an international superstar and still is an international star even after his death. So, like I said, once again, Adolph Thornton is not, minus being involved in a murder. Adolph Thornton is not a star at all. He's just known for being involved with a murder. Tupac was known for music, television, movies, all of those things, his activism, where he was from, and all of that. So that wouldn't even be close to even. But I understand, you mention Adolph Thornton's name and the name of Tupac, then that would be it. But no, what I'm fascinated with is the fact that Tupac's lawyer, I'm sorry, Keefe D's lawyer did not know that Keefe D did that 2009 interview. That's why I think, see, why we were thinking like why it was hard for him to find an attorney, when he had the public defenders as his attorney, right? The public defenders knew all of this information already. They knew all of that, right? When they were going to tell Keefe D, I don't know. But now, like the Money and the Fame, he did it for Money and the Fame in 2009. He already had the Proffer agreement 1 year earlier with Greg Kading them. So he felt like, he could talk and they weren't going to do anything, which he did. And so now in 2009, he makes all of these confessions. And like I said, prior to becoming his lawyer, Carl Arnold did not know. He was not made aware that Keefe D had confessed to the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department under the understanding that he could be the confession that he was about to make to the police could be used against him. But I understand how they got him to do it, because they basically saying that, the Metropolitan Police Department, Las Vegas wants a statement, you know what I mean? Because this is their case. They can still try you, but they've agreed not to try you if you come in and basically sit down and talk with them and basically tell them everything that you told us on tape. But Las Vegas made one distinction, that the statement that he was making to them could be used in a criminal proceeding. And as we see, as fate, karma, and life would have it, that's what we see happening before our eyes right now. You say, if Diddy, if he already gave Diddy up. But see, it's not about what Keefe D said about Diddy in regards to that. It's whether a prosecutor or a convening grand jury would find it plausible or more probable than not that they would go after Diddy for his involvement from Keefe D's perspective, right? In the murder of Tupac Shakur. Now, the thing that really gets interesting to me, why I would be nervous if I was Diddy, because the fact of the matter is now they're asking Foxy Brown, right? Zip has passed away. But more importantly, Keefe D's testimony against Sean Puffy Combs, if he's ultimately sentenced, they can go and make a deal with Keefe D. Say, you know what, because they do it all the time. We're gonna lock him up. We're gonna lock you up, right? And you're gonna testify against Sean Puffy Combs, saying basically what happened, and this is the reason why you did it. You're gonna tell the whole story about Von Zip, which he did already. So all of the stories out there, but the prosecution or a DA's office or grand jury would be able to be presented with all of that evidence, just like they was presented with the evidence involving Keefe D. And they came to the conclusion that they came to. If you put all the statement that Keefe D made, all of that, you put all of that in front of a grand jury, and they say, hey, you know what? We believe that we have probable cause to arrest Sean P. Diddy Combs in the murder for hire plot against Tupac Shakur, because the person who says that they promised him to pay him the money is Keefe D, even though he didn't get the money. It don't even matter. It doesn't matter whether he got the money or not, right? because Keefe D had said that the FBI, the feds, had told him that, they paid Zip the money, or Puffy allegedly paid Zip the money. Gene Deal, in which we know, has come out and basically saying that he's seen the check. You know what I mean? He stated that on Vlad, and who the check was to from that the $1 million for the actual hit. So they called Gene Deal into a grand jury. Well, Gene Deal basically say what he saw firsthand. And there's your case right there. Now you go in front of a jury, and with all of what we know now, it would take a great defense attorney, which I think, Sean Puffy Combs would have a better chance of beating it. But I really don't think he would have a better chance of beating it based on the fact that what they're doing in the Young Thug trial. Listen to me, man. Listen to what I'm telling you. Did they not use Young Thug's lyrics against him in that trial? What up, Marlon Dillon? Did they not use Young Thug's lyrics against him in that trial? They did, didn't they? Jersey Rick, they did, didn't they? Right. No, listen to what I'm about to tell you. There's a song that Sean Puffy Combs did with Black Rob. And where he says, fuck with me, I put $1 million on your head. I have your whole family wiped out. Did y'all hear what I just said? Those ain't my words. I didn't make that up. Muscle Gang, Jersey Rick. See, even Jersey Rick know the song, right? So now, and then all of the other things that Sean Puffy, and I can understand he probably was hurt when Biggie got killed and all of that, right? But all of the other things that he had said, but that one in particular, fuck with me and my family, fuck with me. He said, fuck with me and mine, I put $1 million, what's the name, on your head. What did Keefe D said how much it was? It was $1 million. What did he said that Von Zip told him when they was in Vegas? Time to get this money. Right? So the case can be presented like that. That's the reason why this is so crazy and dangerous. And from the perspective that I would have just, if I was Sean Combs, I would have paid off Lil Rod, got an NDA, been done. Before the Cassie thing would have hit the courts and been filed, I would have tried to work out agreement so that never got filed. If I'm knowing what he knew in regards to that tape, but see, he thought the tape would never come out either. You see what I mean? So once the tape got released, now everything's done. Yeah. So we know now for without any shadow of a doubt that the case can be made. You know what I mean? But will the case be made? And each and every day, once again, people are saying, more people are talking about it. But like I said, once again, Keefe D has confessed that he was responsible for hiding the murder weapon. Keefe D also confessed that after the situation, right, that Sean Puffy Combs them called him on the phone, and Zip handed the phone to him, right, and basically asking him, was that y'all? Right? We know Keefe's defense strategy, basically saying, I did it for the money and the fame. Well, in 2009, there was no money and fame to be had. And that's the thing that's going to really hurt him with this 2009 agreement. You had the Proffer agreement in 2008. In 2009, you didn't have to talk to the police. That was on you. Right? So now, why did he? Because that's what he felt like he wanted to do. But now there was nothing. Listen to me. This is so smart. There was nothing to be gained. 2008, the interview with Greg Kading, there was something to be gained. And that was the Proffer agreement. Right? And confessing to the Tupac Shakur murder. And he did that on tape. We seen murder rap. We heard it, everything. He said, don't bullshit me. I won't bullshit y'all. as to the statements that he was about to make to Greg Kading them, right? Okay, boom. He locked in for a proffer agreement in 2008. So there's nothing else that he has to bargain with or anybody else that he has to really talk to. Or right now, at that particular point, he should be maintaining or invoking his Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. I ain't saying nothing else. Go on with your life. You got a deal, the deal of a lifetime, a get out of jail free card, right? But no, he goes the next year and then talks to the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. Now, how does that relate to make it? So now, the proffer agreement was on the table in 2008. So what was on the great table in 2009? It damn sure wasn't money. It damn sure wasn't fame. So why is he talking? That goes to the consciousness of guilt, right? And him basically making those, confessing to all of those things. He was in the Cadillac. He saw Tupac get shot. He saw Suge get shot in the head, right? Then confessing that to the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department that, yo, I was the person responsible for hiding the gun. He told the police this. And the police had not guaranteed him anything. According to Keefe D's attorney, who Keefe D did not let know about this interview, Keefe D's attorney basically said there was no agreement not to prosecute. So why didn't the Vegas police arrest him right then and there? Because they had an agreement with the U.S. Attorney's Office that they wouldn't prosecute based on the proffer agreement. But if later down the line, in which came later down the line, that Keefe D would make these statements outside of the proffer agreement. See, everything he said on that tape and that piece of paper was protected in the proffer agreement. But once he started confessing on Vlad or the dialogue in his book and all of these other places, those statements right there were not protected. That's why Keefe D is in jail right now. And so now they never released this statement. But Keefe D knew that he talked to the police about this. See, at the whole time that Keefe D was out here talking to Art and talking to Vlad, he knew he had told the Metropolitan Police Department in 2009. But he never mentioned anything about that. The only thing he kept saying was, I got to deal with the U.S. Attorney's Office. I got to deal with the U.S. Attorney's Office, right? That's what he kept telling us. Okay, we thinking like, it's ironclad. He got a proffer deal, some kind of immunity, right? But what we did not know, which Keefe D should have known, is that the statements that you're making in this proffer agreement are protected. But not any public statements that you might make, not any statements that you might make in the book, and not the statement that you made to the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department in 2009. The only thing that protected them is that the government agencies, the state and the government agencies, California, the U.S. Attorney, they were in agreement not to prosecute. Get it? Because a lot of people seem like they don't understand. Well, why they ain't do nothing back in, he had the deal. And there wasn't as much evidence or information out until Keefe D came and confessed and basically told on everybody who was involved, who was in the car, who shot Tupac, what he seen in the car, him seeing Tupac's ambulance and them being on the corner watching the ambulance go past, and all of those things. Nobody never knew any of that until Keefe D confessed to it. So yeah, but it blows my mind that his lawyer did not know. And his lawyer basically said, I was caught off guard. Right. And Keefe D's lawyer basically still saying that there's no evidence that he was involved. Well, what do they need? I mean, that's Carl's Arnold. The question I would have for Carl Arnold is, what do they need to convict Keefe D? Because he said he hid the murder weapon. He already got him on tape saying that. So they don't need the murder weapon. He said he hid it. That right there is incriminating enough. On tape telling the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department that he hid the gun that killed Tupac Shakur. What evidence do they need? Him going on Vlad, holding up the book, saying you don't need to hear it from no cop or no police or none of that. You don't need to hear from no industry ass niggas. pick up my book. This is basically the truth, and this is all of that's what it is, and so on and so forth. This is what Keefe D said on Vlad, holding up his book. And you can only think to see that, Foxy Brown, her being this is the most publicity Foxy Brown has gotten in a long, long time in regards to a situation like this. Oh, he wasn't in Vegas, but that ain't what he told the Metropolitan Police Department in 2009 when he thought that he had immunity. And they agreed, but not to agree that they were basically following the guide of the U.S. attorney and not prosecuting them at that time, but they wanted their own statement on the record because the crime had happened in their state. So they already knew. That's what people didn't know. People didn't know that because they was always asking, hey, why they ain't lock him up a long time ago? And so on and so forth. Well, he basically said he got the weapon from Von Zip. So Ross McCormick, we're not even gonna go there. We're gonna take his word for what his word is. We're not gonna propane, no claim. Yeah, what's happening? Philly in the building. Cody, what's happening? Dropping deuces. Marlon Dillard, Ashard Malik, Mr. Block Ice, Rich K, Jim Dell, Mika DeSell. What's happening? Thank y'all for coming through. I appreciate y'all. So what do y'all think, man? What do y'all think? Keefe D lawyer did not know he made a statement to the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department in 2009, confessing to everything on side of the Proffer agreement that he had got with Greg Kading. What do y'all think about that? What's up, dropping deuces? Peace. So no, that's the thing that I yeah, I mean, either way it goes. And like I said, just the mere, after what Diddy's been through with this Cassie thing, just the mere accusation, and if it's not even so much it's who you believe. It's who you believe. Yeah, it's who you believe when you think about what Keefe D is saying, right? And I told y'all before, the first thing I said when I start doing the video in regards to Keefe D, I said, if we're to believe one thing Keefe D said, we got to believe everything. And he hasn't really been, like I said, people want to paint this government thing and all of this old other shit that they be coming up with, man. Look, stop it, man. You know what I mean? Stop it. And like, what? No. But if you want to ride with that, I'm not going to stop you from riding with that. I just don't want to be on the crazy train with these accusations and things like that. I just want to simply deal with the facts of the matter. And like I said, the defense that Keefe D wasn't in Vegas has been debunked by Keefe D's own statement that he gave to Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department in 2009. As to where the murder weapon is at, or they don't have no gun, Keefe D told the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department in 2009 that he was responsible for hiding the gun. Who shot Tupac and Suge? Keefe D has told the Metropolitan Police Department in an interview in 2009 that his nephew did it. Who was present when you received the gun from Von Zip? Foxy Brown. I'd seen her. We was at the MGM Grand. I walked over to the car on the passenger side, and Zip told her to get out, and I got in. He gave me the gun, a 17-shot Glock, 40 caliber Glock. He told him everything. 40 caliber Glock. I put it in my waistline, right? Got out the car. Foxy Brown actually seen Zip give me the gun. Huh? Keefe D told everything. He told everything. So I don't understand what the defense is going to be. I see, in all intents and purposes, I think, any lawyer, would love to be seen, win, lose, or draw in Carl Arnold's defense, trying to fight this case at trial in it being a highly publicized case. Keefe D's lawyer has said that much, that it's going to be like the trial of the century, if you will, involving the murder of Tupac Shakur, right? And so I can understand why Carl Arnold would just go on the case and try to make up these defenses the best he can. But ultimately, it's Keefe D's life that is at play here. Him, you know what I mean, dealing with his situation. And if I'm Keefe D, you know, I think he takes a plea, or he should take a plea bargain, you know, and yeah, I think that's his best defense, because if he goes to trial, all of this evidence comes down, his statements, the 2009 statements, the Greg Kading statement, the fact that if the argument is offered, yo, where's the murder weapon? The statement comes into, you can't win this. The video of him on the Art of Dialogue talking about what happened, what they did afterwards, you know, what did they do directly afterwards? The statement on Vlad, him holding up the book, saying, yeah, this is the truth. Don't listen to no cop or no industry niggas about what happened in regards to that. Listen to somebody who was actually there. This is what Keefe D said. He don't have a case. Yeah, it's a wrap. I listen, man. That's a hell of a amount of evidence to overcome. And then the only defense that Keefe D would have is to take the stand. He could not remain silent. He could not, you know, right now is when he going to court at that particular point, he does not want to remain silent at that particular point. Your life is on the line. You want to speak up and try to convince this jury that, hey, you know what they've been trying to convince the public, it was all a lie. I did it for money and fame. I wasn't there. I made up everything. At that particular time is when the time he would need to be able to speak for himself. It doesn't matter. Big black, it doesn't matter. Big black. See, that's not and I understand, Ross McCormick, I understand what you're saying. They saying big black arm, right? It does not matter if it was a big black arm, a little black arm, or not. We understand that that was the situation involving what it was, what Keefe D said. So when he said, if the defense doesn't have any other information to prove that it was not Orlando, based on what Keefe D is an eyewitness saying in that car, that information is irrelevant. If it was a big black arm, a little black arm, or whatever. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't matter that all of these other characters people want to enter into the play. It doesn't matter. Well, the bond and being $75,000 is a reasonable $750,000. But I mean $75,000 in the 10% aspect of how they do bonds, right? But as we see, nobody's came to the rescue. I'm not dealing with nobody saying that they're gonna bail somebody out. And from that perspective, right? You can write the story yourself. You know what I mean? From what you know, based in the public sphere of what that was, based on him talking on Vlad, Art of Dialogue, and all these other places. I mean, but like I said, you know, if he gets out, hopefully he gets out. If he gets out to be able to defend himself. But like I said, once again, $75,000 seems like a little bit of money, you know, from that perspective. But like I said, who wants to be associated with somebody from most people's perspective and saying, hey, you know what, this the guy who did too much talking. See, like I said, it's one thing. You got to understand it like this. This is how I see it, at least. It's one thing to have somebody who's accused of a murder or something like that, and they really don't have no evidence. Evidence is circumstantial. You got good people. You was a good dude to a lot of people, and you know you never was a government informant. You never was none of these things. You never told on nobody. You never snitched on nobody. You never done none of those things, right? You have more allies come to you that will come to your aid and put up that money or put up the property or put up whatever you needed to do it. Like I said, once again, Keefe D reputation precedes him from that perspective, if you will. You see what I'm saying? And so not only just the Tupac situation, but you know, the prior convictions, the you know, becoming a government informant, all of those things work against him. They don't work for him. So, well, they listen, John. I see now, understanding this 2009 interview. Vegas, it wasn't that they needed the case to be closed. They had the confession that they needed from Keefe D. They just didn't charge him because of the proffer agreement, right? So they didn't need the case closed. See, now that's what I'm saying. When we find out the truth and the evidence that they really do have, that doesn't even come into play, John. Think about it. If you knew that then, as a law enforcement officer or prosecutor, like, yo, we got the statement, him saying that he did it, he was involved, and what happened from that perspective, right? To hell with everybody else saying and what they saying. They knew that based on the statement that they had. They didn't need to release that to the public. Like, people can go around believing whatever they want about your situation, each and every person in this chat, as long as you know the truth, right? You don't need to divulge that to nobody else to prove it to them. That's how Vegas was handling it. We know the proof. We got the statement. We got him on audio. We got him on video, whatever, confessing to the murder, telling us everything that happened, as well as Greg Kading them. And the stories should and better match up. Simple. Right? So the fact that they needed to close the case, nah, they really didn't. Vegas has went on and done well without closing any case involving Tupac Shakur. Unfortunately, that it happened that way in Vegas, but they didn't really care about that from that. You know what I mean? They didn't. Vegas has moved on, and they still having concerts, and they built new casinos and all of that stuff since 1996. So yeah, most people don't understand that. But like I said, we're gonna see, man. But I'm so perplexed at the fact that Keefe D didn't tell his lawyer that he confessed in 2009 to the Vegas Police Department in a statement that they could use against him in the criminal proceeding. That blows my mind. And I'm wondering if Carl Arnold, as an attorney, would have took on Keefe D's case had he known that, if you will. So yeah. Well, yeah, I think a lot of people might be everybody that Keefe D mentioned, like he mentioned Faith Evans, got a call from Faith Evans because that's who he said he was communicating with. Now he said that on the Art of Dialogue, right? He said that on the Art of Dialogue. So all of those pieces of evidence will be shown. They were like, well, who's Faith Evans? Well, that was the Notorious B.I.G.'s wife at that particular time. Natural immunity. There's no proof that the Vegas Police Department was complicit, man. You know what I mean? And if they was, we shall see if that comes out to be true. But once again, if you're gonna make a statement like that, come with some evidence. Come with some evidence to corroborate what you're saying. You know what I mean? Because simply, right? No, I am watching. I don't need to watch. I don't need to watch nothing new to yeah. That's 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 the ultimate speculation. You made a statement. You said Vegas PD was complicit, and I said, well, offer some proof, some kind of evidence, documentation, something, right? And you said, watch. I'm watching. I don't see nothing. Yeah, the lawyer. Hey, John, right? Carl Arnold getting publicity, man. He gonna book new clients with this publicity. He now he's placing himself in a position to be a high profile lawyer by taking on this high profile case. I understand the game, right? But it's only if Keefe D allows that. But like I said, in the position that Keefe D's in, he's in between a rock and a hard place. What else is he gonna do? Yeah, most lawyers would have, tried to see what was going on and what kind of statements did he make. But like I said, that statement was not made public until recently. That 2009 confession from in front of the Las Vegas Police Department. And see, that's them saying. So that was Keefe D's job, not his lawyer's job, to try to play peekaboo. I see you, or yeah, you really didn't know. You know what I mean? That was his job, to let his lawyer know, like, hey, I talked to the police, under the guise that they wouldn't do anything. They didn't tell me that they wouldn't do anything, but I talked to them, after I'd done the proffer agreement, because they said they wanted to talk to me, And Carl Arnold probably asked them, well, who was your lawyer at the time that you went to talk to him? Because he advised you to talk to him? Because I mean, if they were going to do what they're doing right now, prosecuting, you should have just kept your mouth quiet. You see what I'm saying? See, it was in Keefe D's benefit to keep his mouth quiet in 2009, because if they were going to lock him up for what he told Greg Cady and them and got in the proffer deal, his chances are better, because now he's protected under the proffer agreement. So his best option was to be quiet, but he chose to talk. And this is why we are where we are at this particular point. It's crazy, man. I've never seen nothing like this in my whole entire life. I don't think in any kind of criminal proceeding, RICO situation, criminal situation, drug enterprise situation, anything where a person has talked as much as Keefe D did after being given a get out of jail free card. It's amazing. Well, like I said, once again, the Las Vegas, when people come in the chat, and like I said, I appreciate everybody coming in the chat. But when people come in the chat and they say, well, Las Vegas was complicit, it was the FBI, it was all of this. Nah, man, it wasn't all of that, man. I mean, I get it. If you want to think that shit, then okay, cool. If it's more interesting for you to entertain and say things that, that are not backed by proof and evidence, like I told you, I understand why Tupac father said that, based on the fact that Keefe D was a government informant and had been given a deal by the government. You understand what I'm saying? And not charged at that particular time based on what he was telling the government. I understand that. But now we've seen those chickens have come home to roost in the state case involving the murder of Tupac Shakur. So now when we take that full circle and we understand what that meant, right, that he was bragging, Seth Marie, right. But like I said, Seth, but he wasn't supposed to speak. The statements that he made in the proffer agreement were the statements that were protected. Anytime he spoke outside of that proffer agreement about the murder of Tupac Shakur, he could be charged for that. And that's why he is charged for that at this particular time. It's just that simple. Like anybody trying to add anything else other than that to it, it doesn't matter. I'm not skipping over anything on natural immunity. I've already dealt with that in Suge Knight, as well as Suge Knight saying free Keefe D. We already talked about that. And as a matter of fact, Suge Knight never said that Keefe D wasn't in the car or none of that. Suge Knight actually said, and because I did some research and I went over the statement, he said, if what Keefe D is saying is true, right, that he still didn't wish, prison on nobody. And I thought that was a crazy statement, after Suge Knight had professed his love and concern for Tupac. But not only that, even for his own situation in saying that, based on the fact that Keefe D said that he actually locked eyes with Suge Knight at that particular time, if you will. Yeah, I mean, people could Whack 100 can bail Keefe D out if he want to. That's his money. He can do what he want to. That ain't got nothing to do with me. They ain't got nothing to do with you. You ain't spending no money. I ain't spending no money. You know what I mean? The Tupac estate could bail Keefe D out if they wanted to. That would be up to them. I wouldn't have nothing to say about that. I don't think that would happen, but I'm saying that's the right that a person has to do what they wish to do. If they feel like they want to do that, if they feel like they want to spend the money from that perspective, they can do that. That ain't got nothing to do with me. Well, like I said, yeah, that's basically what they're going with, but it doesn't really matter if they're going with that or not, because the statement that he made in 2009 is unbelievable. Like I said, what I'm questioning is, Who was Keefe D's lawyer in 2009 when he sat down with the Metropolitan Police Department? There was no way on God's green earth that he was supposed to sit down with them police. Because like I said, if they threaten him and say, well, you know what, we can still lock you up, we still can start charge you with state charges, right? Or if that was the incentive to get him to go and talk to the Vegas Police Department, they said, well, look, you know, Vegas wants to sit down and have an interview with you and talk to you and basically, you know, tell them what you told us in regards to that, just so that they can have it for their books, so they can make like they're gonna close the case. When getting in that interview, if they would have said, this statement can and will be used against you in the court of law, I would have got up. I would have asked for some kind of immunity from Las Vegas too. If they already gave him immunity from the U.S. Attorney's Office, right? It wasn't that he was supposed to plead the fifth. He didn't even have to go to the interview, John. He didn't have to show up for the interview. He already had the Proffer deal in place. So why are you going to talk to Vegas? That's my point. You got the Proffer deal is in 2008, already locked in, ink signed. He didn't have to go to Las Vegas and talk to them. If they threaten him with a arrest, like, okay, cool. I already got the Proffer deal over here. And that statement, listen to me. This is how crazy it is. I already got the Proffer agreement over here. And that statement in that Proffer agreement can't be used against him at all. So why go and talk to the Metropolitan Police? That the cases in LA don't matter. He got immunity for those. That was what the Proffer agreement was for. For most people that don't see that, that's why I say this is the confusion that's been going on. People who don't understand the law, how that works, the situation involving Proffer agreements, the interagencies working out and agreeing to not do certain things, but reserving the right to do certain things. That's what we have here. And so now that has been dealt with, right? What threat? Oh, what the threat? The threat of being arrested, John? Yeah, the threat of him being arrested. But like I said, it didn't matter if they threatened him to be arrested. If they said, well, we'll charge you, they could have charged him. But what statement or evidence were they going to use against him at that particular time? Because they had none. They couldn't use the statement that they couldn't use the statement that he gave to Greg Cady and them, because that was the statement that was used under the Proffer agreement. When he went to talk to them, when they said if his lawyer's supposed to say he wants the same deal. I'll come to talk to y'all, tell y'all everything. I want immunity though. Keefe D wouldn't be sitting in jail right now. Period. But he didn't. So what made him go and talk to the police in Las Vegas? What's up, Jamie? Cody? Tay Razors? Rich K? Like I said, but we're gonna see what's happening. We got more people in there. Hit the like button, man. Hit the share button. I appreciate you guys coming through. You know what I mean? But yeah, the thing I'm perplexed by is Keefe D didn't tell his lawyer, man. He didn't tell his lawyer about that situation in which he talked to the Las Vegas Police Department in 2009, and he confessed everything. And anybody, like I said, if you have any kind of common sense, you know, you understand, like, yo, he had the agreement in 2008. Why go talk to the Las Vegas Police Department in 2009? Even under the threat that he would be arrested. Okay, but they don't have no evidence. That's it. But what kind of evidence do they have? They couldn't use that confession. But now, listen, now that Keefe D spoke outside of the Proffer agreement, they're going to use that confession that Greg Cady and them, that's already been entered into evidence. The confession that he gave Greg Cady and them has already been entered into evidence. So, like I said, yeah, karma come thick, man. It come thick, man. You know, it's so unfortunate people lost their lives. Rest in peace, Pac. You know what I mean? But we're gonna see in November. It ain't that far away. And in November, we're gonna see how this really plays out. I see a plea being taken. If not a plea being taken, I see yeah, I don't see how they're gonna jump these hurdles that Keefe D has laid out against himself, if you will. Your boy DELRAY, straight gang.